There's a rumor going around that Illinois may have a big-time coaching change in the very near future. Locked On Illini, let's go.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Illini. Thank you for making us your first listen every single day. Simple reminder, we are free and available wherever you get podcasts and on the YouTube platform, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Sunny Verma. You can find me at IlliniCast. You can find me at the Sunny V. And please find me on Instagram and Facebook. Just do a search for Locked On Illini. If you'd like to support the show, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. A lot of you are going to be tuning in, I feel like, for the first time today because of the content and the topic I'm going to be discussing. Just know that I do Illini content daily, every single day, including days where I'm traveling, as you can see, for a wedding. I'll still do my best to get Illini content out there for you. Now, today is a tricky episode. It's one addressing a rumor that has been going around the Illini rounds for almost a week now. I got wind over it last weekend, I believe, and I made a very vague tweet about it, which upset some kind of people. But as I said, I wasn't at liberty to really give out details. And I don't want to use Locked On Illini as a platform to be a rumor mill. I just don't think that adds really any value to you, the listener. But this one is loud enough, and there's enough people before me that have gone out to report it and discuss it. And so for me, I feel like I do think it's kind of my responsibility that I know a lot of you aren't on social media. You choose to avoid it for very smart reasons, might I add. So you're not on X, you're not on Facebook. And so for me, I do feel like there is a little value in me letting those folks know what basically a lot of the Illini basketball crowd is talking about. And by that, I mean Tim Anderson might be leaving the Illini before the start of the season. Now, note, I said might. It's not set in stone, but if you ask me right now, from the way things have progressed, it looks to me that the separation is going to happen. Now, I'm not going to talk about too many details on what or why, because again, right now it's just a rumor. Once things settle down or an official announcement happens, then we can kind of discuss the reasons why. But I'll just go out and give my thoughts on it. Tim Anderson is, in my opinion, and again, this is just my opinion, our most valuable assistant coach. I know we've brought in guys like Orlando Antigua, but Tim is a coach that I'm extremely high on. And when I got this news, I'll be honest, I was very concerned. For me, Tim has brought in a lot of the key Chicago talent, like a guy like Morez Johnson, and his relationship in the city of Chicago has proven to be invaluable to the Illini program. I constantly refer to Tim as being a part of this staff, a staff which I consider the best in the entire country. And Tim Anderson could be the ace guy on many staffs across the country. And now the idea that Tim may not be on the staff moving forward is a bummer. Now, if he were to choose to leave, I don't think he would be replaced right away. If you really think about it, with the timing, with the availability of the type of caliber assistant coaches that Illinois will be able to bring in, those guys just aren't available right now. And so Brad Underwood, in my opinion, I mean, you have people like Tyler Underwood and Hamer who have been doing the work of an assistant coach. And yeah, they're younger and they're a little bit more green, but I do think that Brad trusted those two up-and-comers, and they've been working their butts off when it comes to the recruiting trail already. So my expectation is that no changes are going to be made officially, at least no replacements are going to be announced. But overall, just to give my thoughts on it, and again, I'm not reporting it. If you want more details, they're available for you guys, whether it's Google, Twitter, whatnot. I don't feel comfortable discussing this too much. I simply want to bring the topic to the eyes and ears of people who may not have seen it already before because it's already widely reported. Not confirmed, but we'll see what happens. I do think losing a guy like Tim Anderson would be very concerning for this team for the upcoming season. It's very unfortunate for me. I feel like the vibes and the mojo of this program right now is at an all-time high. And anytime an assistant coach, beloved by some of his players, decides to leave the team almost rather abruptly, you just wonder what kind of vibes that sets in the locker room. You just almost wonder what kind of tone that sets in the locker room. The locker room culture is very important, in particular to a Brad Underwood team, because of the fact that we cycle through players as often as we do. This is a locker room that's going to have 9 new players on its team. And so when you deal with people mourning a loss of their assistant coach, you hope that doesn't really affect the chemistry between some of the players, the newer players and some of the older players. Tim Anderson was and is a rising star in the ranks. I don't know what his plans would be, because again, I'm going to keep this segment as short and vague as possible because it's not my responsibility to report on rumors. This one, I'm simply letting the folks know that this is a potential story, and should it become official, I'll address this more in depth. I will say one thing, as bummed out as I would be for a guy like Tim Anderson to leave, if there's one thing Brad Underwood is very, very good at, it's hiring assistant coaches. If you take a look at his track record, almost every single time one assistant coach leaves, he somehow upgrades. It's one of his best features as a head coach, and he certainly has an eye for the talent. So, as I said, if things become official at some point over the next few days, I'll try to immediately go live. We'll try to do a breaking news episode about it. But until then, just keep your eyes and ears open. And again, if you want details, just like there's nothing scandalous about this. I just think this might be a difference of opinion between a head coach and a lead assistant coach. And sometimes the world of finances and the college sports can get a little tricky. So I don't want anyone thinking that there's anything scandalous going on. This is just, unfortunately, the business of college sports now. Fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the kickstart you need to a healthy new routine. What are you waiting for? Crush your wellness goals this September with dietitian-approved meals, ingredients that you can trust. Enjoy effortless support to your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, and avoid meat, or simply eat well-balanced meals. Head to factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 and use code LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code LockedOnCollege50 at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. All right, come Saturday around 11 a.m. Central will be the kickoff for the Illini homecoming game against Central Michigan. The game you'll be able to find on Peacock. It's the homecoming game. I don't think we're going to quite sell out, but I do think we'll have a pretty good performance from the student side. I'm expecting at least 50,000 plus. I know it's hard, early Saturday game against a MAC opponent, but it's homecoming. So I do feel like we're going to see a lot of people in the stands. And I say it's homecoming, but I do think we kind of have unofficially two homecomings this season, between the game on Saturday and also what is the unofficial homecoming game uh, against Michigan, the 100-year anniversary game, which I think is going to be not only a sellout, but probably the most energetic game that we've had in a very, very long time here in Champaign. With the game against the Central Michigan Chippewas, what do I want to see the Illini do? I want to just continue the momentum that the Illini football team has built up until now. When we talked about the opening game against Eastern Illinois, I spoke like I wanted the Illini to get up big at halftime. I wanted them to dominate the first half and then kind of just dumb things down once the lead was established, and in order to not give game tape to, at the time, Kansas. Well, turns out Brett Bielema is a lot smarter than I am. Newsflash. And what he did is almost the opposite. He opened up that playbook. He used a lot of his players, and he basically seemed like wanted to kind of establish a certain confidence level for this football team. Let them show themselves what they're capable of doing, and a dominant performance followed. 45-0 against Eastern Illinois. With this matchup against Central Michigan, folks asked me, are you worried that this could be a loss? And I just wanted to say, like, for the first time in a long time, not really. Now, that doesn't mean that Illinois can't lose. Of course, Illinois can lose. If Notre Dame can lose to the NIU Huskies in South Bend, then certainly a program like Illinois can lose to a program like Central Michigan. But we are no longer at the expectation point where we need to be scared to lose. In some of the previous regimes, under those head coaches, sure, we'd go into a MAC game wondering, hey, are we going to be able to pull this out? I'm now at the level where I just go in and I assume that we're going to physically dominate this MAC team. I think the spread is at 20. Last check, opened at 18.5, but a lot of people have been betting for the Illini. And quite honestly, I think we probably covered the spread. I think Brett and the staff right now know that there's a big Week 4 game looming against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And despite the 2-0 start to the team, I think it's plenty clear that if you watch my positional grades episode from the day before, that the team isn't exactly clicking in all the different units. I think it's time to build confidence in that offensive line. You really want to establish some sort of running game. We didn't have that against Kansas. Beating a team like the Cornhuskers is going to be very difficult, and we're going to need the guys like Caden Fagan and Aiden Lawfrey, and maybe even a splash of Khalil Valentine to be able to beat Nebraska. And now's the time to establish it. Again, we should be bigger, better, and stronger than the guys that Central Michigan are going to be lining up. And so let's go ahead and establish that. Let's get that rhythm. Let's get the boys going, because we're not going to be bigger, faster, and stronger the week after. And so we're going to certainly need the help and the confidence of that running back room, which is arguably the most talented room that we have. Secondly, I also want to see Luke Altmaier continue to play mistake-free football. I think that's key to the Illini season. The fact that he may not be as aggressive as I want him to be, that could be a coaching decision. I don't know yet. But the fact that he's not making mistakes and he's not giving the opposing team short fields is helping the Illini overall. That's how a team like ours, who once we enter Big Ten play, we're not going to be the more talented team really in most of the games that we're going to play. So what it's going to require from the Illini is mistake-free football. Let our defense play the way they've been playing the first two games, and let the offensive talent that we have show the talent that they have. But we can't be giving the ball away. We can't be putting more undue pressure on that defense than necessary. And a big part of that is Luke. The fact that he hasn't had those multiple interception games, I hope, as we progress through the season, is going to build his confidence even more. I don't have to repeat myself in the sense of how high I am on Luke and how I truly do think he's one of the better coaches, and how I truly do think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten. And a game against a team like Central Michigan, I just want him to continue doing what he's doing. And quite honestly, hopefully play 3 quarters, and then let's watch a little more Donovan Leary, a prospect who I also have very high hopes for. And lastly, I want the defense to continue playing the way they have been. I don't want them to get any less aggressive against Central Michigan. I want them to have as much positive momentum and moxie as they can have against that game against Nebraska the following week. Illinois versus Nebraska is going to be on a Friday night prime time. I believe it's Fox Sports. Under the limelights, the entire country is going to be watching what I'm expecting to be 2 3-0 teams. Now, a lot of the attention is going to be on that Nebraska football team with what Matt Rule is doing in his traditional year 2 jump that he's done everywhere that he goes. A lot of people expect them to be 6-0, if not 7-0, going into that game against Ohio State. But with all that attention, I do hope that Illinois can kind of sneak in and show what they've been doing kind of under the radar all season long. And Dylan Raiola, as well as he's played in his initial couple of games, he's still a freshman. And being under the lights on a Friday night, that's going to be a lot of pressure for any kid. Now, he's got the talent, certainly, to perform, and I expect him to. But if Illinois right now can keep their confidence level, if they can get another 2, 3, or 4 takeaways this game, you're talking about 3 games in a row where Nebraska is going to have no choice but take a look at this game tape. And Dylan Raiola is going to be watching this game tape of us every single game having multiple takeaways. And no matter what quarterback you are, sometimes that's going to get in your head. And hopefully that can mean that we can get Dylan to be afraid to make a mistake, or knowing that this is going to be his first Big Ten defense that he's facing off against. And not just that, but it looks like a defense that might be one of the 5 or 6 best in the conference. We want to get into Dylan Raiola's head. And the best way to do that is have another 3-4 takeaway game against Central Michigan. And again, establish that it's going to be a battle at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln on Friday night. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has tools to help the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else. Even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And that's just about going to wrap it up for this episode of Locked On Illini. Remember, on your way out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Costs you guys nothing. And you really do support the channel and helps the channel grow. I think we're at like 1,129 subs before this video. So please comment if you're number 1130 or 1131, whatever it might be. I'm the only guy out here doing this daily for you. Remember, every single day, even when I'm traveling for a good friend's wedding. Yes. Unfortunately, I do have friends who don't watch sports and don't understand that weddings on fall weekends should be a no-no. Maybe we can make that a talking point in one of the next presidential debates. Or maybe not. Thank you for making Locked On Illini your first listen every single day. Now go check out Locked On College Football Podcast. From NIL deals to never-ending conference realignment rumors, Spencer McLaughlin gets you ready for an exciting season on the gridiron. You can find the link to Locked On College Football in the description, so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. That just about wraps it up for me today. I believe the Locked On Podcast Network is going to be releasing a preview show in the evening. It's not something I'm a part of, so just to let you guys know, it's one of those Big Ten squads where they go around talking about the different college football games. Highly entertaining episodes. I do suggest you do watch. They're very entertaining guys, but I know a couple people commented, and no, I'm not a part of that Big Ten squad, at least in this upcoming episode. That just about wraps it up. I'll continue to be bringing you content here every single day. Please hit that notification button, and you'll know exactly the next time I go live. Until then, ILL, love you guys.